Hello, thanks for joining me. I'm going to be showing you how to do something that's really on trend at the moment. It's like you can't turn around without hitting an ombre buttercream cake. And a lot of people think, oh, how do you do that? It's so simple. At the end of this video, you're going to be going, is that really how simple it is? So here's what it is. You make buttercream ratio icing sugar in 2 and buttercream 1. So double the amount of icing sugar as you have butter. I've got 750 grams of butter. Please do not cheat at this stage and use margarine. It will only lead to tears. That thing does not set. You need butter. If you do not have butter, don't ice the cake. So you get that in. I've melted the butter already because it's just easier. Some people say cut it into cubes and then start adding tons of hot milk and all that. No. Let's it in the microwave for a little bit until it's this soft. So nearly runny, but not quite. If you try and skip through this stage and you leave it too hard, it will hurt your wrist when you try to pipe. Now, I have a little trick. I'm going to use some cling film around this before I turn it on. So, cling film the whole thing, and that way you can still press that. And that way you don't get all the icing bubbling up. And then you can take that off and then turn it on to fullest. And you want to make sure that you've got it as nice and fluffy as possible. So leave it for a full 20 seconds. There, that's it. That's what I do to my buttercream. Some people like to put a bit of vanilla. Some people like to put a bit of essence. Of course you can do all of that, but basic buttercream, feel safe, does not go wrong. It's just 2 parts of icing sugar, 1 part of butter. I'm just going to tilt that so you can see what it looks like. So that's firm, but very, very soft. If you're having to work really, really hard, it's too hard. If that happens, don't despair, don't chuck it all away. You obviously can't put this bowl in the microwave. What you do is you boil some water and you put about 2 tablespoons of boiling hot water in, whisk it again, and that will get it to the right consistency. So use some of the buttercream, smear that on your cake board, or you can do this directly onto a plate. You need to press that down firmly, and then using your spatula, holding the top of the cake firm, you smear the buttercream all over the sides. Be as generous as you can at this stage. I know some people like to do this with a piping bag. You can do that as well. You just need to get good coverage all over it. Okay, and you can get a cake scraper and you need to put that level with here. A common mistake a lot of people make is that they tilt it inwards or they tilt it that way. So if that's level with that, you can't get it wrong. And then you just turn your turntable or your Lazy Susan or whatever it is you're using. You don't have to worry too much at this stage about getting everything perfect, because do not forget you're going to get your second coat of buttercream in the ombre layers on in a minute. Okay? And get that completely covering the edges as well. Get that in. This is fine now for you to pop in the fridge whilst you get your different color shades ready, and that would just give it time to firm up. So I'm going to pop this in the fridge with the rest of the buttercream that you've made. You split that into, I'm going to do 3. You can do 5, you can do 10 if you like, if you're feeling adventurous. You know, that's the beauty of it. You can do as many different color combinations as you like. The principle is the same. So I'm going to split this into a deep pink, a light pink, and cream as it is. Now to the smallest section, I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of food coloring, just a teeny tiny bit. Just remember the golden rule with food coloring. It's always easier to add in than to take out. So start gently and you can always make it more if you need to. Just that tiny amount, you mix it all in. And then with this one, you mix it in again, so it makes a slightly deeper pink. So that's it. So now you need 3 piping bags. If you've obviously done 5 different colors, you need 5 piping bags, etc. You do not need a nozzle. Do not put in a nozzle here because you're just making more work for yourself. Just keep it, keep it as it is, that's fine. Get rid of the air. Whenever you fill a piping bag, try and get rid of as much of the air as possible, because otherwise that's more work for your wrist to do to push through air. It's actually quite tricky to push. So you pop that down and do the same for the other 2 bags. And you get back your cake that you've crumb coated, and you need the cake, your scraper again, and some boiling hot water, and your 3 bags. So I've just poured out some boiling hot water, or well, relatively hot. And I'm now going to do the ombre effect. So what you want to do is with this nozzle, sort of mark out the cake in 3 sort of, sections like that. Put this as close as you can to the cake and go all the way around. It doesn't have to be an exact science. It doesn't matter if, it splodges over a little bit. That's okay. So I'm starting with the lightest color so you can see the ombre effect building up. And then from where you put the next line, you go in with the next darkest color. And then with the darkest one, you fill in the rest of the top of the cake. Don't be afraid to get adventurous. You can do the same thing sideways on it. You can do the same in stripes. Okay. And then now with that scraper, you'll need to dip it in the hot water just so that the metal gets a little bit hot. And you're going to try and do this in one fluid movement. So it's not scary, but if you stop and start, you get lines in the cake. Get it nice and warm. And then, placing that flat on the board, you just scrape off the excess. Heat it up again and go over it one more time. If your water is not hot enough, you get a granular effect on the buttercream, and I'll show you how to get rid of that. It's really easy. All you need to do is just heat up your water a little bit. Okay, so with the darkest color buttercream, you can just use your spatula and fill out the top. And you check through to make sure that it's all nice and smooth. To smoothen out the rest of it and sort of give it that glossy feel, I'm just going to heat up the water a little bit and then run this on the really boiling hot water and go over it once, and that will seal everything off. I've now made up some more boiling hot water. This is really, really hot. And as I run the spatula through the cake, you will notice all the little holes seal up. Like that. And whilst I was waiting for the kettle to boil, I prepared some cake bags, just fitted them with, whatever nozzle you like, in the 2 extreme colors, the darkest and the lightest. And with that, I'm just going to pipe some sort of border. You can do whatever you like on it. And do the same again with the one that's going round the base of it. So you could present that as it is, or just for an extra finishing touch, you can pop that on there. You place them a little bit to the side, like so.